If you want to know the best way to plant your bare root rose, this video is for you. Here are all of the supplies that you will need today, and I have a link to all of them down in the description below. A spade, or in my case, a hand shovel. I'm actually using earthworm castings because I couldn't get my hands on any compost, but if you have any good organic aged compost, please feel free to use that. Mycorrhizal fungi. You can buy mycorrhizal fungi, or I'm using a Sure Start fertilizer from Espomo, which also has mycorrhizal fungi. You can use this specific fertilizer, or if you have any other brand that you use for mycorrhizal fungi, you can feel free to use that too. A watering can and a small stick or a bamboo cane. Before you even go ahead and plant your bare root rose, there are a few questions that we need to answer. First being, when can you plant a bare root rose? You can plant one in between January to May, depending on what zone you're in. If you bought your bare root roses from David Austin, just like I did, they only ship the roses based on your zones and when will be the most optimal time for you to plant it in your particular zone. Now, if you receive the rose and if there is a freak storm and your ground is still frozen or waterlogged, they do not recommend planting it in the ground. In this case, you can just plant it temporarily in a pot and keep it indoors. Which location do you pick to plant the bare root rose? Pick an area that is suitable to the rose that you have chosen. Some roses require full sunlight, while others can thrive in partial sunlight or shade. I will warn you though, as much as I would like it to happen, you will not be able to grow a rose successfully in complete shade. And you would need at least 4 hours of sunlight for the roses that grow in partial sunlight or shade. Make sure that the rose has room to spread and the roots are not going to be too crowded. And these are the steps you will need to take to plant the bare root rose. Step 1 is rehydrating the rose. This is one of the most important steps as soon as you receive your bare root rose. Take your rose out of the box that it was shipped in and rehydrate it in a bucket of water. You can leave it in the water for up to 24 hours. I chose to keep it for about 14 hours because I was a little late to take it out of the box because I was sick during that week. Do not skip this step as the roses have traveled a long way to get to your home and need this extra sip of water just before they are planted. Step 2, dig the hole. Dig a planting hole that is twice as wide and big enough to fit all the roots of the rose. If you find that some of the roots have broken or if just one root is too long, you can actually cut these off. Break up the soil at the base of the hole. This is especially important if you have clay soil like I do. I have terrible soil, and this particular step will help the roots grow and spread through the rest of the soil. Next step is planting the rose. Remove the bare root rose from the water and hold it over the planting hole and sprinkle mycorrhizal fungi over it. I am using a Sure Start fertilizer, and I'm using about half a cup per rose during planting today. Next step is to position the rose right in the center of the planting hole. You can use a bamboo cane or a stick to help you with leveling out the rose here. The key point being the bottom of the stems should be about 2 inches below the top of the planting hole. Now, holding the rose in place, add the previously dug soil into the hole. I am also mixing some earthworm castings to help break out the clay soil and help the roots get extra nourishment as they grow. You can use compost in about a proportion of 2:1 or 3:1, where you use 3 portions of the actual soil from the hole and 1 portion of the compost. It is important not to completely fill this hole with just compost because then it does not allow the roots to get used to the soil around the hole. I have seen cases where some of the roots don't adjust to the rest of the soil around it and will just wither and die because you completely filled out the entire hole with compost. You want the roots to get acclimatized and spread spread through the remaining soil. So it is important to mix that soil with compost. So it breaks it down a little and it just becomes easier for the roots to spread a little bit. Firm the soil around the rows and water the rows really well. And that's it. You have planted your first bare root rose. I hope this helped all of you. And please let me know if you have any specific questions in the comments down below. Thank you so much, everyone, and have an amazing, amazing day. Happy gardening, everyone. Bye-bye.